Yo, this your boy Tony coming through another episode of Backyard Comedy. As always, I got my boy, Skeezy, baby. Please, say it, baby.
You already know.
And really do, y'all got that here beside me. I'm your boy, Vocal 26, man. And you see this man right here, you already know it's the Backyard Inspiration. How you doing, Pop?
Hey, doing good, man.
Thank you for coming, man. As always, man, before we jump on and do the inspiration, man, let's do a recap of last episode. Yeah. We had Miss Anita, Chef Anita, came through, man, talk about her experiences as a chef with modeling and so much more. Working in a what was it? A diamond. A diamond restaurant. Never heard of that ever in my life. You probably heard of a diamond restaurant.
Yeah.
I ain't never ate there. She came through, talked about that, man. You know it's brought to you by K97.5.
Oh, yeah.
Check us out every week, especially on Saturday. Cut that radio dial on. We're on there 11 to 6. Also, you know, anybody dealing with any type of substance abuse, holler my man, Mr. Julius Rowe, and he would get you moving in the right direction. And on this episode, let me turn it over to brother Onyx Martin Jr.
There you go. Hey, man, this episode we're going to talk about, you know, a little bit about the seasons of restoration. We're going to bring that in, man. I thought it was a great topic at this point in time, man, with everything going on, with all the prices going high, inflation going on, man, with everything we do. It's just like, you know, sometimes we might feel like giving up. So I feel like at this time, man, we want to talk about a little bit restoration, man. And I'm gonna kick it off with the 4 seasons. So there are 4 seasons of. Somebody's seeing them too, but anyway.
Shut up!
right. But there are 4 distinct.
Get it together over there.
Phases. I can't even get the word out. Phases of restoration, because I'm reading while I'm talking right now.
Yeah.
But the first one is the season of letting go. The second one is the season of resting and mending. The third one is the season of rebuilding or renewal. And the fourth one is the season of reaping and returning or reclaiming.
My God. Let me piggyback off
release,
of you
reflection, renewal, and reclaiming and returning.
Let me piggyback off of you real quick. Pop asked something when we had our little meeting, and I made sure. Restoration is the act or process of returning something to its original, former, or improved condition. Yeah. What you got on that, Pop?
Hey, I love that, man, because it's returning it to its former. And then if not its former, it's improved condition. So restoration can't take you to a place where it's less than where you started. It's going to always be greater than where you started. So before the storm hit, when the restoration happens and then when it begins to materialize, you're going to be in a better place.
That's right.
And you know, for the people, when they say restoration, you know, when you start talking restoration, most people go to, of course, you know, the Bible. That's that when you hear restoration, but like we said when we had a meeting, restoration could be in different things, in your personal life and finances, you know, anything like that. Can you just give a brief, little intimate,
excuse me,
quote on that right there?
Of course, Tony. Like we was talking about, restoration can come from various spectrums and various phases, and as he was talking about the different seasons of it, it can be in aspects of your life, various aspects of your life. Some it could be with your health, it could be with your relationships, it could be with your spirituality, and I guess you know that's what we deal with it from the Bible. Even though the Bible, whenever it talks about all of it, whether it's allegory or you know, it talks from the point of view of a spiritual principle. But nevertheless, when we talk about restoration, we're talking about something being restored and becoming better and you know, being put back in a position to where it can function again. You know, being put back in a position where it's capable of doing what it was orchestrated or created to do from its nuclei. And so therefore, you know, restoration means to put it back and say, hey, this is where it should be, and this is how it is to function. So when something is restored, it has gone through something, but the something that it went through can only add to it and can't take away from it.
I sure have been restored. You're not gonna put my own personal life in there. I've been restored. Some things I don't do like I used to do. I don't want to do some of those things anymore. You know, it was all fun and games when I was into it and ripping and running or doing those type of things. But then when I got restored, renewed, now I don't want to do none of that no more. Now I'm a different person. I'm a different man. I have a different mindset. And some people, they think that they're going to be different by doing the same things. You can't be different by doing the same thing. What you going to do?
Well, with what you were saying, like, nah, you cannot be the same person by doing the same cycle. You have to change a lot of things about yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, anything that will hinder you to keep you in that same loop. You know what I'm saying? But to me, restoration, the candy cane got caught in my gut. Restoration is building up anything that's over time has been damaged. You know, you want to kind of take it back to how it used to be. But certain aspects of that, you don't want to bring in the negative aspects of the restoration, of like trying to be the old person. You can never be that old person. You should want to be somebody new. You know what I'm saying? Renewed in that aspect.
First of all, you got to recognize when you need restoration in your life and what you need it for. It's a lot of different aspects as they were talking about, but some things get replenished when others don't. So you got to know how to balance and level that out as well. Don't put too much in an area that you don't need to do that. That will take away from an area that you need it.
That makes sense.
Also, I would say with restoration, sometimes you would say or refurbish or whatever, they take the bad parts out and then plan them with new parts, and sometimes those new parts are improved and have better put together a little bit better than the first ones was, because they realized that those parts weren't that good in the beginning.
If you need that, holler at O&M Technical Solutions.
You already know we got you.
Don't let a glitch stop you.
You already know it. You already know.
That's real though. That's real though.
Yeah. So we gotta realize that, man. And when we figure out those parts that needs to be replenished and built better, we build those parts better, and then we can put them back and implement them in our life.
Yeah, I think what's interesting, you guys brought some points there about restoration and about refurbishing and all of those things, and then you said don't let a glitch stop you.
Technical solutions.
The fact of the matter is, there's only one perfect life without a glitch, and all of our, and that was Jesus, who is the Christ. But all of our lives have glitches. So ever so often there will need to be some form of restoration. A question that came to my mind, and I think that most people need to contemplate, and I think where we may err, is that can we restore ourselves, or that restoration has to come from outside sources? Are we just capable of just presenting a platform or setting the discipline, meaning, maybe dieting or, doing certain things and not going in certain areas, but the restoration has to come from an outside source. When we put ourselves in a position to be restored, it actually happens and materialize from outside elements or sources, or some say greater power. So I think that's the thing to think about, because I think too many people are trying to restore themselves. And it's going to be, I think, hard to restore yourselves when you don't have the blueprint on yourself. You don't understand how you are made. That's why if you're going to send your computer to someone to be restored or refurbished, you're going to send it to a technician who understands the makeup of it.
That would be O&M Technical Solutions. Don't let a glitch stop you.
That's right.
Not just anybody. O&M Technical Solutions.
Do it right.
But that's real. I think in order to restore yourself, I think people need to look within themselves and be real with themselves. A lot of people try to change some things, being in denial that they have certain issues that they would like to hold on to, because when I was going through, I thought, okay, well if I don't do it on Monday and I do it on Wednesday, that's an improvement. Right. You know what I mean? But if you're doing the same behaviors, it's not gonna matter. That's just my opinion.
I mean, and with that, you can't actually restore yourself, but you can pick out the parts that needs to be restored, and then you can seek that outer creation, which is our God to me, that can restore you in that area, and read your Bible and find out knowledge on how you can restore yourself in that area, or how you can be restored in that area to Christ.
Putting yourself around like-minded people.
Positive influences, doing what is going to help you in that situation. I think it's really it's not ironic. I think it was really on point and on target that Dooley and I was talking about health, just dealing with some health stuff, and we're talking about diets. Well, if you got some areas in any particular health arena, then whatever your situation may be, certain things doesn't help your body
Right,
heal
right.
itself in that predicament. So you got to make sure that you take the steps to avoid that, so that your body can restore itself.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, so that's the things we have to think about. Sometimes, again, we have to take the necessary steps to use the necessary ingredients, follow the necessary directions in order for us to be restored, in order for us to be replenished. The book talks about times of refreshing shall come. And when it talks about these times of refreshing shall come, what it means is, as he was talking about those 4 stages that we'll go to, so that means your life is going to be in seasons. So there are going to be times when you don't feel, refreshed, restored. You don't feel like that you're going to receive something to help you. But that's a season that's necessary, so you can appreciate the times when you are. And then too, as we grow or maturate, or as chronology takes place in our lives, we then go from one stage to another, and every stage has its new challenges, and those challenges we have to navigate them, and the way we navigate them is we prepare ourselves. We if we find something there, maybe we're not doing it, then anybody who has any wisdom will know if it's going to help you, then you're going to do it. If it's not, as Dooley said, you wipe it out. You don't do it, and you got to make the decision. A lot of people, a lot of church folk, man, this trips me out. A lot of church folks say, Lord, take this from me. Lord, I need you to take this from my hand. Lord, don't let this happen. Lord, and he's like, he's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
You telling me not to do it, but you still, like you say, taking your hand and putting it in your mouth, or you still holding those grudges. You're still walking around with unforgiveness. You're still
I see it all the
open
time.
up the wounds. You're still creating a havoc. You know what I'm saying? You're still doing all the negative stuff, but you want me to take it from you.
Yeah.
And every time I try to take it from you, you take it back.
Right.
I never go back to Georgia.
That's right, though.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's important that you recognize what season you're in. You can't dress for winter wearing summer stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to recognize what season you're in, and go to God and talk to God to increase your discernment and to increase your understanding, to know the things you got going on. A lot of people don't do that. Sometimes in my life, I haven't even done that. I just went through it thinking, oh, I'm a strong man, and got beat down every time.
And
You
that's
can't beat God. He ain't lying.
That's what I was gonna go to, because every season that you go through, you take hits and you take licks, and you have to be replenished. And sometimes we don't take that time to, as it says, rest and reflect. I think that's a big one that we need to do: rest and reflect and mend and heal ourselves, and so we can get to that next point of restoration. I think it's just like checkpoints. After you go through a battle, or war, after you go through war, you come back and they go to the meds and you get healed, you get patched up for your next journey or mission.
Yeah, and I was honestly, how old am I now? I can't tell you. I was 37, somewhere in there, 37, 38, when I took a step of restoration, and that was just simply talking about something that I experienced in my childhood that I had been told for 20 plus years. Not realizing how heavy it was, like how my attitude was kicked off towards other people, and how I portrayed that hurt onto other people, because this is what I was feeling at that time, or I didn't want to hear what nobody had to say because they wouldn't understand and stuff like that. That ain't the case, man. Sometimes you really got to look back, and what Michael Jackson said, you got to look in the mirror, look at the man in the mirror. You got to talk to yourself and let yourself know what it is.
Back to what Onyx was saying about rest and
Rest, rule, and abide.
Rest
and mending and reflecting.
Reflecting. A lot of people will take rest, but they won't reflect. You know what I'm saying? They'll just rest, and they won't even
just let it go.
They won't even try to think about what they need to change or restore in their own lives. You know what I'm saying? Even there could be a million people telling them, but again, they're in denial because they feel like everything is fine. As long as they got the rest. But you need that reflection, man. You really do to restore your mind.
I agree.
And the thing is, rest is more important, and just as reflection. Sometimes the reflection may not be an area where you are mentally conscious of it. And the reason why I say that, you think about somebody who's been through a real traumatic incident, especially brain trauma or something like that, they induce a coma in that individual, put them in an induced coma, so the body can rest and heal.
That's right.
So sometimes the wound can be so great, you just need to rest and heal. Like you said, you're reflecting, or your body's reflecting, but you're not conscious of it. And a lot of times we are not restored because we won't, as was said by Doolin, as also said by Tony, and you guys are saying, we won't allow others to speak the truth into our lives, and we get offended. You know, that I've been working on a piece on offense, and I may come, you know, and talk about that a couple of weeks from now. From the but you know, I think offense is one of the most dangerous pieces in a person's life.
I agree.
Yeah, as it pertains to succeeding. Most people can't succeed because they're still carrying around offense. And when you are carrying on offense, it means you haven't forgiven, or stuff happened to you, won't let it go. It becomes a hindrance to your progress.
It almost becomes a burden.
It's a burden. It's a hindrance. It's a weight. You're paranoid. You know, like you said, you don't know me, or you won't understand me. You haven't been through what I've been through. Yeah, we all got stories, and I'm not making light of it. I'm not being insensitive. But what I am saying is that we have got to deal with it and understand that what didn't kill us can only make us strong. And we got to use it in a positive way instead of using it as a crutch and or an excuse. We have a society, in my opinion, who feels like somebody owes them something because they don't take responsibility for their own actions.
Accountability is a major word.
And you can never be restored. That's where reflecting and resting comes in. Because when I'm reflecting and when I'm resting, I'm looking at what I did. I'm not talking about what somebody else did to me. A sign of maturity is when I take responsibility for my actions. You know, I can't point the finger at somebody else for what I did and say that they was the direct cause of what I did. Because I reacted, and my reactions, once I started reacting, then the ball is back in my court.
You know,
I didn't have time to react.
Said that. I have learned about reacting. See, now I block you. Christian know that now. I don't want to react no more because the reaction is not what you should be done, because ignorance can't go against ignorance.
Right.
It's just gonna be an ignorant situation. You know what I mean? And thanks to Skeezer, because he's good at telling me that. Because I'll be ready to. You know what I mean? But it ain't no need to do all that. You know what I mean? Because that person is still going to be that person regardless.
You end up losing, man, and you never get a chance to help not only yourself heal, but in turn help others heal by seeing you do that. You know, and that could help the person that you're doing that to heal, because they realize, oh man, I feel stupid.
And the devil knows you're taking steps to restore yourself. Right. Especially when he wants you on his side. I done danced with him one out there. He ain't worth 2 dead flies, man. He ain't got no power. I don't know why you keep trying, but I done been out there. You know what I mean? Not paying attention, not listening when people was putting that word on my life, and I knew it was true. I could feel it all over. It's really just like fire shut up in your bones. It really is like that. And I know I'm covered. I know I'm anointed, and that's why our fight is even much harder than just a regular old Joe, because we are called to do great and wonderful things. Put that in there.
Well, the greater the calling, the greater the task, the greater the anointing, the greater the attack. You know, and the enemy doesn't want someone who has a great anointing, a great purpose to be restored. Because we just said restoration makes you better than you were. You know, so he don't want you to get better. You know, he don't want anything to happen to you that's going to cause you to do even more damage to his kingdom. You know, he doesn't want you to succeed. So that's one way of governing it.
Onyx Jr. has been trying to restore me from drinking regular bottled water, but I sure love that faucet water.
He's stupid.
I can't live without it.
Boy, I try to get him off that faucet water, boy. You gonna learn one day. I hope you don't think that's what it is.
But you talked about the seasons of restoration. Can you go over them seasons before again?
Yeah, I will, but next time I'm not.
I want to ask that you restore him, Lord. His attitude is so
Deliver me, Lord. I ain't there yet. For the third time. So there's the season of letting go, releasing, and then there's the season of resting and mending and reflecting, and then there's the season of rebuilding or renewal, and the season of reaping and reclaiming and returning. And that is the final season, which means that you have been through the fire, you fought, you've healed, and now you can reap your new blessing or your new restoration that you need to keep going.
And then once you finish, you go through the cycle again.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask.
Steve
Wash
Harvey,
and repeat.
Steve Harvey said something,
Or
man.
rinse and repeat.
And I quote it from time to time because he said something, man. People always talk about how they go through hell, and that's what you got to go through to get there. You don't never want to stop in hell. You got to go. You got to go through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get to where you got to get to. Like we just said, it's gonna be tough. You know, my grandma always sung a song. Nobody told me the road was gonna be easy, and it wasn't. Nobody ever told me that. But they definitely didn't tell me how hard it was be either.
Yeah.
You know, I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way.
And sometimes it's harder because of not listening and not following the direction. I said the other day, I think we may have been, I don't know if it was a church or Bible study or whatever, but a lot of people don't come through a thing easily because they won't accept what somebody is offering them to help them not go through it. Or they won't learn from somebody else's experiences. You know, not to say experience is the best teacher, but sometimes experience can be the most painful teacher. The only thing, the reason why it's the best teacher, because if it really bothers you or hurts you or afflicts you, you don't want to go through it again. But you don't have to go through that experience if somebody else who you know and trust is telling you about it, and you listen to them, man, trying to steer you around it.
Man, I'm glad. I'm glad you said that.
Talk about that all the time.
I have a library full of stuff not to do. My friend, don't listen. You don't listen.
We try.
I done told them, don't do it.
But that's, I mean, because it comes from, once you get hit, a couple times, you don't want to get hit again that same way. No. You want to get out the way, but and a lot of times what happens is we feel like that we're isolated, that we're not going through the same thing, or it's not the same as what you're talking about, or I'm better than that, or it couldn't happen to me. And sometimes we got to realize that everybody goes through some of the same stuff. It's not like it's nothing new under the sun, as they say.
Real talk.
And that same book says, "There's no temptation taking you, but such is common to man."
There you go.
Now, there temptation would also allow for a route of escape.
Yeah.
So,
So you know every quote. You already know that. I got that.
How they did it the old days.
You know what I mean? But like you were saying, I use this as a example. Like, you can sit beside me and say, reading and writing is just not my arithmetic. But I'm a hands-on kind of person. Right. I want to touch the job and do the job, and I can learn it that way. You know what I mean? Or through music or something like that. Versus somebody else that can touch the book. Now they got it like you can touch any book. Like Media Man. And you got it like that,
Come from the art of fighting.
It also comes from years of you going through what you've been through. You know what I mean? To develop that type of knowledge. You know what I mean? So I just want to put that in there.
Hey, and see, I've read tons of books too.
See what I'm saying?
Tons. Not one or two, but tons. And like you said, I think that's a very, very valid point. We don't all learn the same way. That we all have different methods of comprehending and receiving and of digesting information. Whether it's through book knowledge or hands-on, or like you said, through music or acting out. And sometimes we might need all of them put together. In order to retain it. And then I think the other thing is that you get to a point where you got so much in there, you feel like you ain't got nowhere to put anything else. And then as you get older, the brain starts to deteriorate because it's a cell or it's made of cells. And so memory starts to mess with you. So now you got to do exercises with your brain to keep stuff in there and also, put more information in.
Now, some of y'all are really like, Johnny has 3 apples. Some of y'all are like that. Just hard-headed, and just can't seem to get right. You know what I mean?
Still don't know how many apples Johnny had right now.
My grandma, that's Lord bless her soul, she always called people late bloomers. I couldn't stand it. But they are such things. I have been a late bloomer in something. You know what I mean? And that goes back to the first one you said of letting go. I had to realize I had to let go of some things and some people in order to get to the second step of restoration. You got to do the step. You just can't skip from, you know what? I don't need to let nobody go and go to rebuilding. Because you still got the same people putting up the boards. And if they ain't putting your nails in your boards, they using glue, it ain't going to hold up.
It's gonna fall just like the first one
Yeah,
did.
it's gonna fall every time because you gotta. I really
So
pray
instead
for
of being
stuff
restored, you got to go back to the beginning without any restoration, which now becomes to the point where it is so irritating that you don't want to participate anymore. So what do? You quit.
Yeah.
And quitting doesn't resolve it because it's still going to be there. Saying it doesn't exist doesn't cause it to cease existing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to get worse when you think it ain't
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Definitely get worse.
You can cover it up and hide it and try to go around it.
It
You
smell
can
like boo-boo if it's boo-boo.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to understand. Hey, life was. I didn't even think ever since Adam did what he did in the garden, life was not going to be easy. God said
Life
it,
be life.
Yeah.
but it can be navigated.
Yeah.
You know, it's
You got the tools.
nothing is impossible with God.
That's right.
You know, and we got to understand that if we will allow Him to help us, we spend some time with Him, and we you know, quiet time where I can just hear Him. You know, get some of the anxiety out of the way, get away from the noise, get away from all of the other voices,
Yeah.
and spend some time with Him. You say, well, every time I try to do, I hear all this other stuff. Well, just put on something that's going to calm you and soothe you. You know, people who can't sleep and have anxiety. They tell you to put on the
Rain
sound of the
sounds,
ocean or
yes.
rain or something like that, and that calms you. Do what it takes to get where you need to go.
Yep.
Everybody's method may be different. The formula may not be the same.
As long as you
but,
reach 'em.
but the results is what we're looking at. Can
Right.
you get to a point where you can receive something to strengthen you and to help you know that where you got to go and what you got to do and who you are is worth fighting for?
Yeah. And I
What
say,
you have to offer is worth fighting
It's
for.
worth
Yeah,
fighting
real
for.
talk. That's real
And,
talk
and
now.
I'll say this is, and a lot of times, what we have to do is be able to do what we don't like to do.
Woo.
So
You're reaching in there.
you know, because a lot of our blessings and a lot of our restoration comes through others. And one thing we don't like to do is receive help from others. A lot of people don't want to receive help. I can do it all by myself.
Because when they're offense, your offense,
Your offenses, yeah. But yeah.
when your offense kick in.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we don't never get the help that we need because we don't never go to somebody, or when they ask us, we always shun it away.
Or
and it was our blessing
and
right
it's in
there.
it being too prideful to ask.
Being too prideful, yeah.
That offense brings on that pride, and like you say, and then you know everybody's against you. You can't get the help you need, and you got that unforgiveness there, and you're hurting yourself. And that person is going on living and achieving and succeeding, and you can't get to the next step or the next level or the next season because you won't let go of something that they let go years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to stay. Help is going to have to come through someone else. God created us where we were, you know, not we're independent in some areas. We should have some independence, but He's also created us where we have to be interdependent.
That's right.
Now, what is enter the dragon?
That
What is
means-
I got you, dude.
You killing them over there. You depending on each other.
What is
man.
interdependent?
Yeah, but interdependent means we have to depend upon each other.
Yeah.
You're always going to have somebody to help you. No man is an island. No man can achieve anything by himself.
Yeah.
There you
You
go.
know, it may feel like you did it by your own bootstraps and pulling your own bootstraps up, but there was somebody else in the picture other than you.
Yeah, indeed.
Even if you say I created a business and I built it all by myself, I did all the hard work. Okay, what if you had no customers or employees? You know, or what if you had no
Or
know-how?
word of the mouth. Or
Word of mouth, all that other stuff. It's an aid. It's a help.
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, giving you what you need in order to accomplish what you've been designed to accomplish. So those are things we have to do. And like I say, get the pride out of the way, get the stuff out of the way. Just be real. And as y'all say nowadays, stand 10 toes down and face the issue.
And then we got 9 because that got real. Stand on it.
However how many toes you got, just put it
Stand
down.
on it.
Killing it over there.
Do all you can. Just stand. Yeah. But what are some things before we head up out of here? Just real quick. What are some steps that people can take to start the rebuilding process? Pop.
Yeah, I think he's talking to you.
Me. I'm looking to him.
Yeah.
It's like, speak, Onyx. Yeah, some of the steps, as we've already forestated, is you have to acknowledge it. You know, and then once you acknowledge it, you got to. You have to be willing to receive help where it's needed. Don't be afraid to ask for help when it's needed. Now, don't let asking for help become the crutch.
There you
But
go.
don't be afraid to ask for help when it's needed. Don't have too much pride. Don't be in a position where you feel like you don't qualify or they shouldn't help you or you brought it on yourself. All of that could be true.
I have bought a lot
For
on
sure.
myself.
All of that could be true. But God so loves us that we still are worth
And he gave his only begotten son.
we're worth being helped.
Yeah.
And
John
so
3:16.
admit it. Don't
The only
be
one he
afraid to
knows.
ask for help. And then find a plan and work the plan.
That's the major step right
Find
there.
a plan
That's the major
and
step
work
right
the
there.
plan.
Yeah.
Because if you do not, then you'll never succeed. And listen, let me tell you, and I know that you guys are younger than me, but we're talking to people out there that are probably younger than you guys,
indeed.
and they think they can
Indeed.
keep everything in their heads. In this case, you need to write it down
Write it down.
because if you do not, then what's going to happen? You will forget it, or something may. The book says this. It says, "Write the vision and make it plain, so he that runneth may read it. He that runneth may see it." And it's saying that he may be able to understand it when listen to this, when he gets in a hurry, when things start to speed up, because life has its cycle. There are going to be some times when it's slow moving. Then there'll be other times when it's moving so fast. You're like, how can I do this? How can I do that? Well, in the midst of that, you still need to know your plan. Because even though it's getting good for you and you're doing this, you're doing that, you got a lot of assignments, you still don't want to step outside of your plan because the plan is what is going to help you get to that area of restoration so that you will not have to suffer as much when you go through the next level. Because even though it is a vicious cycle and we do have to go through these stages and these seasons, you'll get to a point where the season doesn't affect you as it did before. Not that you become immune to it, but you recognize it and you understand, just as anything else, this too shall pass. How do I know it's past? Because I've been through it before. How do I know it's going to pass? Because listen to this, I've got a testament of how I got through it. I've got, I've got the scars to show it, whatever it may be. And you know that it's going to pass. So you can weather the storm. And you said, don't stop, even if you might have to go through hell. Don't put a tent up in hell. Don't even put, definitely don't build a house in hell. And if I was you, I wouldn't take my shoes off in hell.
I sure would.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Don't
sure
get
would.
comfortable. Don't get comfortable in hell. The book of the Bible, the book I think is Layers the Sea was lukewarm, and then it was another, I think, of Sardis that had Satan's seat. And when it talks about Sardis, it's not Sodom, not Sodom and Gomorrah. Whole another story. But anyway, where Satan's seat was, and when we studied, I asked the question: why does it say he had a seat there? What do you do when you're sitting? You're comfortable. Now you feel like you're not challenged. You're relaxing. If you're sitting somewhere, you got control of the situation. You don't sit down till the work has been done.
That's right.
So if he's got a seat there, he's in control of that establishment. You can't put a seat where you don't have it.
Got that
so
right.
so that's the thing is don't rest
get
in
bail
hell,
where you
man.
don't live
Don't go
at.
there.
Message.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing you got to do. And so do that. And listen, have a supporting group, cast, people who are going to be positive influences.
Positive.
And not people that's just going to tell you something because you want to hear it. Not those people that are just going to jake your chain because they still want you, to pay for the food at the restaurant. So they're going to laugh at your jokes. No, get some people who are going to be real and say, look, I'm going to tell you the truth if I had to pay for my own food.
What you need. What you
roll
need.
my own
Period.
joint. I mean, pay for my own food.
You got change for 100?
That's real talk there, man.
And on that note,
That boy got anything else?
man, look, man.
Anything you got coming up, Pop, you want to tell anybody about?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay.
Hey, look, man. I just got to say, just keep yourself in mindset ready to work and follow the plan. And if you follow the plan, it'll be easier going forward. Like Pops was saying, when you need to restore yourself, continue to get back on plan. Don't be afraid and ashamed to seek others for guidance or help. That doesn't necessarily mean money or something of that nature. Just knowledge is way more worth than money.
Yeah. If I can't give you no money, I pray for you. That's free.
But I'm gonna also give you knowledge. If I know it, if I've been through it, or if I've seen it, and I'm gonna give you some game, as they say, because you don't want to get be in the game, and we both in the game, and I done failed, and you slip on the same spot I slipped on.
Right, blind leading the blind. What that means?
Yeah, you should be able to see that spot and avoid it.
Right.
And listen, I just want to throw this out too for any of you all that are out there listening. If you want us to come and be a part of a panel at your establishment to give some feedback on some of this information, contact us. Again, Tony's going to give you that information, and make sure you contact us. We'd be more than glad to come. We want to do things that's going to help you help yourself, just like God does. God helps us help ourselves. God says, I want to help you help you. God says, I don't need to help you help me, because I'm the same. So you can't do anything to help me. But what I want to do is help you help you. So we want to help you help you.
Indeed. That's real. And on that note, you can hit us up at www.backyardcomedy3@gmail.com. Anything you would like to add, like as Pop said, want us to come talk or whatever the case may be, you just hit us up right there. Anything you want to hear, any questions you got, just email us. And you can also go to www.backyardcomedyllc.com. It's also a message button up there. You can hit that button. It'll go straight to Skeezy. He'll let us know and things of such of nature. As always, I got my boy Skeezy, baby. Please, Eddie, baby.
Yeah, I already know that, man.
That really do that I got down there.
Down here chilling.
I'm your boy Vocals 26. Shout out to Pop for being here for the Backyard Inspiration. Y'all know we're gonna keep it coming, man. It's also brought to you by Real Demand TV, where we streaming in 172 countries. Make sure you download Podbean. Anything you want to listen to us on, we are on every single site. That's what we do. Time is a precious thing to waste, so don't waste it by not watching Backyard Comedy. We appreciate y'all and we love y'all. Backyard Inspiration.
Y'all be encouraged, man.
Be restored.
See ya.